finished. So that was
Or that it's
in
better.
terms of, you know, just repainted and fixed it.
Right.
But yeah, much better. It was horrendous.
That's good. It's easy for me to forget just how big this thing is.
Oh, I know. It's massive, and that's why some productions we take simple black curtains and kind of divide the stage just to make it a little bit less,
Yeah.
because the full depth, yeah, is humongous. But that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever.
Good morning, everyone. I tell you, every now and then I think about why wasn't I an actor? Now, don't say because you have no talent, but every time I get these bright lights on me, it's hard to see people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the new faculty and the new staff in academics. Then Wendy will introduce the new staff across campus, not in academics. Then I'm going to introduce Dr. Handley, and he's going to speak. And then after that, I'm going to speak about some things that we're doing in academics over the year, and then we'll be done. When I introduce the new faculty staff, please stand up and stay standing for at least 2 hours. No, just stand up. All right, first, Dr. Christy Winger. Where are you, Christy? Okay. Christy is the Dean of Education and Liberal Arts in the College of Criminal Justice and Emergency Responders. She has a doctorate in English, Writing, and Rhetoric from Lehigh University. Christy grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where she developed her addiction for chocolate and hails from the mountains of West Virginia. I just want to say, you know, West Virginia split from Virginia years ago, but I won't hold that against you. She loves reading, writing, working out. She does CrossFit and taking walks with her puppy Lily, her husband Steve. Christy, are you 6'1"? 5'9". Okay, she's been here 2 weeks and 2 days, and she's already sassing. Christy's husband Steve is 6'7". Is that correct? Okay, I already respect that guy. And she has two daughters, Paige and Ellie. She is the first external dean that we have hired since I've been here. We were delighted with the candidates, and she's going to be a fabulous addition to Lake Superior State University. Thank you, Christy. Dr. Surajay Busgain. Surajay, are you here? Okay. Assistant Professor, School of Natural Resources and the Environment. He has a doctorate in geology from Louisiana State University. And he recently discovered, I always thought this was true, but I couldn't prove it. He recently discovered that the liquid outer core of Earth might be the largest reservoir of carbon on the planet. My kind of guy. Glad to have you here. Dr. Robin Clark. Robin, where are you? Thank you. Assistant Professor, School of Natural Resources and Environment. Robin has a doctorate in forest science from Michigan Tech. Robin enjoys traveling and connecting with indigenous communities. She has had the privilege of traveling to and learning from indigenous peoples in South and Southeast Asia, Northern Europe, and here in Our King. Now, Robin, here's a question. I tried to look it up. Our King means what in Ojibwe language? The earth. Thank you. Welcome. Brad Clegg. Brad, where are you, buddy? Scream, holler, do something. All right. All right. Now, I would listen carefully to this whole thing because this could make everybody in here better off. All right, now. Brad is an assistant professor of School of Criminal Justice, Fire Science, and Emergency Services. He has a Master's of Science in Criminal Justice from Michigan State University. Brad is a sergeant with the Chippewa County Sheriff's Department with 23 years of active duty law enforcement experience. He is currently the Deputy Director of MCOs as well as a senior MCOs instructor. His way gets good. He enjoys cutting his grass. Okay. So he's not normal, all right? But it gets worse, all right? He enjoys cutting his grass and doing yard work, and if you are lucky, maybe yours too, as well as hunting and fishing. Welcome, Brad. Now I'm going to introduce a faculty member that's not here yet. He will be here next week related to visa issues, is that right? My oldest daughter, Jacqueline, who is 35, I'm 43, don't do the math, all right. Jacqueline's actually 37, my bad. Her husband, one of the most special people I've ever met, is an Armenian from Istanbul, Turkey. So Dr. Haluk Kuchuke, now I'm sure I butchered that thing, assistant professor of School of Engineering and Technology. He has a doctorate in mechanical engineering mechanics from Michigan Tech, and he is coming from Istanbul, Turkey. Next, George, where are you? Okay, Dr. George Kalcheff, assistant professor at Lucinda School of Business. Now, George has a doctorate in economics from Southern Methodist University. As you know, I have a doctorate in economics, so he was one of the few faculty members that I interviewed, so I got to know him before. And there's something weird about this, George, because I think you're following me around because I'm older than you are. I went to Bulgaria in May of 1992 setting up study abroad programs for Truman State University. George is from Bulgaria. I asked him yesterday where was he from, and he said, "What, Joe? I'm thinking I would never be able to pronounce that." So we decided Sofia, Bulgaria, about 100 kilometers from Sofia. He got his PhD from SMU, which was the first place I ever taught, and now he's followed me to Lake Superior State University. All right. George likes watching movies and traveling. He particularly liked visiting Iceland, Kathy Bertram. He visited a volcano crater, saw the northern lights, and walked on land that resembles the land of the moon. Welcome, George. Ryan Scara. Ryan, are you here? All right, thank you, buddy. Ryan, assistant professor at Lucinda School of Business, has a doctorate in organization and management. Ryan's hobbies revolve around his son playing travel sports, hockey and lacrosse. So Ryan gets to spend a lot of time with his son in different parts of the country. Ryan also has a couple of old cars, a 1963 Nova SS convertible and a 1971 Cutlass. Welcome, Ryan. Adam St. John. Adam, where are you? All right, thank you, buddy. Assistant professor, School of Arts and Letters. He has an MFA in theater and drama from Indiana University. Adam recently moved from Washington State with his wife, 2 daughters, and 2 dogs, where he was teaching acting and movement at Western Washington University. Now it gets good. Adam has been in master classes with Meryl Streep and Glenn Close. They're not really that big deal. Meryl Streep and Glenn Close, and traveled abroad performing Shakespeare, and looks forward to bringing his extensive experience to LSSU. Welcome, Adam. And then last faculty member, Dr. Mark Zerdin. Where's Mark? Hi, Mark. Mark is assistant professor of School of Science and Medicine. He has a doctorate in chemistry from Temple University. And he's got great stuff here, but it's just one sentence, but it's a great one. Mark once got chased by a black bear, so he's feeling right at home with the UP. Thank you, Mark. Now I'm going to introduce, with one exception, new staff in academic affairs. The one exception is going to be the new Associate Dean of Student Affairs. Mike Beasley was on the search committee and led it. Wendy and I were on it, Derek Knight and Kalia Lippincott. We interviewed a good amount of people, and then sort of the last moment, we saw this fantastic candidate, got her in here quickly, interviewed her. Everybody was amazed at how good she is. Her name is Anya Alexander. She has a Master of Arts in Human Services. Her last position was Director of Residence Life at the University of Providence. She is a daughter of a retired full colonel from the military. She is one of the most interesting people I've ever met in my entire life. She's lived all over the world. And when Kimberly Muller and I were eating dinner with her after the interview, I asked the typical question, well, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you want to go? No, I think this was the night before with Mike. My bad. All right. And she said Panama, and then she said, well, Europe and Germany. Spent a lot of time in Germany. She was a little girl in Panama when Noriega was in power. So her family had to have bags packed to be able to leave at an instant's notice at any point in time, and that happened when she was 9 years old. And they had to leave. They went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and her dad had to stay behind. So she is an interesting person. She's going to do a lot of work in student affairs as far as student programming, but also work with academic affairs and student success and retention. All right, next, someone who is not here right now is Robert Asinaway-Beaupre. Robert is the Native American Center Student Support Advisor. Robert started about February. He's done a wonderful job. Sasha, is he getting married Saturday? Getting married next Saturday in Canada, and he's also a member of the Canadian Armed Forces. All right, next, people that are here. Daryl Bauman. Daryl, you back there, buddy? Okay. Daryl is our technical and production manager of the Arts Center. This is my favorite of all of them, Daryl. Daryl is a DJ for weddings and helps at our local dance studio, all styles, all occasions. He has many passions, but none greater than his love for Mountain Dew. My kind of man. All right. Next, Dr. Emily Chasick. Emily, are you here? Okay. Yeah, I especially can't see over there, so thank you, Emily. Emily is Student Support Advisor, Academic Services. Emily has a doctorate in kinesiology from Michigan State University. She has extensive experience working with student support services, and she holds a black belt in karate. Great stuff. Welcome, Emily. Maggie Davis from CFRE. Maggie, are you here? Thank you. Maggie is Executive Assistant and Events Coordinator at CFRE. Maggie is a proud mother of two, an 11-year-old and a 2-year-old. Welcome, Maggie. Next, Salas Dunn. Salas, are you here? Thank you. Salas Dunn is a research technician at CFRE. He has a bachelor's in fisheries and wildlife management at that very prestigious school, Lake Superior State University. Salas's favorite season, Salas ain't all here, all right? Salas's favorite season is winter. I'm kidding. Because he's an avid ice fisherman. Welcome, Salas. Lisa Hodgkins. Lisa, are you here? Thank you. Lisa's a technician in the Simulation Center, Nursing Simulation Center. One of Lisa's most recent accomplishments is becoming an American Heart Association BLS CPR instructor. Recreationally, Lisa enjoys spending time with her family at the many beaches along the Great Lakes. Welcome. Katie King is the administrative assistant at the Escanaba Regional Center. Katie is not here today. Katie has a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration from LSSU. Katie was a semifinalist for the Tennessee Titans cheerleader auditions in 2017. Next, Shawnee McMillan from CFRE. Shawnee, thank you. Shawnee is a research technician with CFRE. She has a Master's of Science in Water Resources from the University of Minnesota. Now, Shawnee, you have to listen because her question is coming. Shawnee is a rock climber, and she plans to climb El Capitan in Yosemite National Park in her near future. Now, we got something that came to us that said you were going to climb Yosemite National Park. And I've been in it many times because I lived in Lake Tahoe, and I told Sasha, well, I don't think she's going to climb the whole park. So I just picked El Capitan. All right, what are you planning to climbing? Okay, we see why we got back what we got. El Capitan, I would do it free solo. It would be no problem. Welcome. Next, Dr. Lynn McNair, Supervising Field Officer, Charter School Office. Lynn. Lynn has a doctorate in educational leadership, Eastern Michigan University. Lynn and her husband, Jamie, have 2 daughters who are LSSU alumni. In her free time, she likes to read, travel, and walk on the beach looking for agates. She refurbished a vintage 1968 Layton camper a few years ago. Lynn, welcome to Lake State. Neil Moran. Neil, are you here? All right, thank you, Neil. Neil is a professional writing tutor in academic services. Mark Boucher and I worked together, and we very much wanted to get someone with some real professional experience to help in tutoring students with writing. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Lake Superior State University. Neil enjoys gardening, beekeeping, and fishing with his grandson. That's great stuff, buddy. Welcome to Lake State. Next, Shelby Smith. Shelby, where are you? Are you in the back? Oh, you're right there. Okay. Shelby Smith is the business manager of the Arts Center. She has a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice and Fire Science generalist from Lake Superior State University. Shelby is a proud LSSU alumnus. She is the captain and training officer for the Rutgers Township Fire Department, and she loves showing horses and spending time together. Welcome, Shelby. Megan Thompson, Seafree. Megan Thompson, hatchery technician, Seafree, has a bachelor's in fisheries and wildlife management from here. Megan is the first person in her family to go to college, and now she is working her dream job at the Seafree hatchery. Welcome. And here's the last academic staff person. Shuri Weems, Director, Simulation Center. Shuri. Shuri was recently accepted into the Masters of Healthcare Management program at Michigan State University. She enjoys outdoor activities such as camping, hunting, ice fishing, and Jeep adventures. And here's the best part. She plans to, quote, she plans to get an 8-point U per buck this year while doing her homework in the stand. Good luck. I like the tenderloin part of that very much. Wendy, come on up.
I'm going to admit, I never liked following Dr. Gillette. But I was thinking, what could I do that Dr. Gillette will never do? And then also, if I slaughter someone's name, they won't remember that because I did this. And I'm like, a dad joke. A dad joke will do it. Dr. Gillette will never tell a dad joke. So we're going to start with, what do you call a beehive without an exit? Anyone? Unbelievable. Yay. So I'm going to announce our unbelievable staff that we have joined LSSU since last convocation. Same as Dr. Gillette, when I say your name, stand, wave. Extra credit, dance. First, we have Wayne Olmstead, budget analyst. Wayne, there's Wayne. What, no dancing? I have treats for anyone who dances. Wayne is originally from Detour Village and has a Bachelor's of Science degree from Lake Superior State College. We know that he may be older than Dr. Gillette. And an MBA from LSSU. In his free time, he likes to slay Bambis, daddy and uncles. He has meat for you too. Walleyes and the occasional bowling pin. Welcome, Wayne. Trevor Yake, accountant. Trevor, are you here? Trevor? Hi. Trevor was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie, where he developed a deep interest in music, nature, and technology. He loves writing songs, learning different instruments, hiking, and building communities. I hope you do that too, but computers. Welcome, Trevor. Jean Blanchard, facility attendant. Jean, are you here? Jean enjoys working at LSSU. And Jean is taking classes at LSSU and is working towards a bachelor's degree, the Bachelor's of Science degree in Social Studies. Cole Gillot, facility attendant. I think all the facility attendants are cleaning, prepping, so. Cole has 2 kids, a daughter, Cecilia, and a son, Patrick. Both are 2. I was gonna ask him if they're twins, but he's not here, so. Cole bought his first house last year in August, and he enjoys fixing up and doing renovations on his new house. Welcome, Cole. Martin James, facility attendant. Martin has a wonderful family and he loves to hang out with and he has so much fun with them. Martin enjoys his job and working at LSSU. Walter Sigmund, facilities attendant. Walter lives in Rudyard, Michigan. Walter enjoys spending time with his wife and family. He is happy to be here keeping a safe and clean place for students and faculty. I'm sure he meant staff too. Welcome, Walter. Abby Van Leuven, facility attendant. Abby is a native of Sault Ste. Marie and graduated from Sault High in 2019. Abby will start classes in accounting at Lake State in the fall. Welcome, Abby. Ray Corbier, steam plant operator. Nah, he's probably not here. We got to keep that steam plant running. Ray, are you here? No. Ray was short and sweet. Ray enjoys hunting, fishing, and camping with his kids. Welcome, Ray. Sean Horton, equipment operator, groundskeeper. Hi, Sean. Sean is from Sault Ste. Marie. Sean is married with 3 kids, all boys ranging from the ages 21 to 28, and has 1 grandson and 1 granddaughter. On Sean's free time, he enjoys the great outdoors, from boating to enjoying his camp in Rayco. Welcome, Sean. Mike Normand, electrician. Mike likes to hunt, fish, and spend time at camp with his kids and grandkids. He grew up in Newberry and loves the UP and the people that live here. Welcome, Mike. Tim Spencer, I know you're here. Hi, Tim. Maintenance mechanic 2. Tim was born in Sault Ste. Marie, went to school in Escoda, Michigan, and then moved back to the Sioux in 1990. Tim has 2 sons. Tim coached the varsity wrestling team at Rudyard High School and enjoys camping, riding quads, and dirt bikes. Tim, do you still coach wrestling? Okay. Alex Hacker, Junior Systems Administrator. Hi, Alex. Alex grew up in Sheboygan, Michigan. Alex is a fall 2020 grad of LSSU. Welcome, Alex. Eric Richardson, IT Network Administrator. All IT's in the back. I can see you, kind of. Eric grew up in Brooklyn, New York, until he was 18, then left to attend university in upstate New York, studying electrical engineering. Eric was a network administrator for the past 20 years. He spent the last 8 years working for the New York State Police Forensic Investigation Center in their IT department. Eric says he found a great new family at LSSU. Welcome, Eric. Rachel Yanni, Junior Systems Administrator. Rachel grew up in Sault Ste. Marie and graduated from LSSU in 2020. Her father, Steve, is also an LSSU alumnus and formerly was a member of LSSU's Recreation Therapy faculty. Welcome, Rachel. John Kilpinen, Public Safety Officer. John's sleeping. He worked last night. John moved from Ann Arbor to Sault Ste. Marie to attend LSSU. John received his bachelor's degree in fisheries and wildlife in 2013. John's family is 100% Lakers. His wife, Becca, has an associate's degree from LSSU, and works as an academic assistant for the College of Innovation and Solutions. And both of John's daughters attend LSSU. John enjoys bushcraft camping and spending time in the outdoors. Welcome, John. Ashley Menominee, Resident Hall Coordinator. Ashley's busy, getting ready for tomorrow. Ashley is from Manistee, Michigan. She enjoys growing up in the UP and loves doing anything outdoors. She also loves traveling, especially to warmer places in the winter months. Don't we all? Except for one person doesn't. I forgot who. Oh, someone up there. Yeah. Oh, yep. Silas. Welcome, Ashley. Terry Carr. Hi, Terry. Terry is the head coach of Shootin' Sports. Get to know him well. Terry is from Burlington, Wisconsin. He enjoys shooting competitively, hiking, fishing, and reading. He helped win numerous state and national titles for both his high school and college shooting teams, also achieving several individual awards. Welcome, Terry. Stephanie Casey, mental health clinician. Stephanie is going to start with us in September, but we're going to read her off today, so you'll see her around. Stephanie was born in Sault Ste. Marie, but was then later adopted and moved to Canada, where she spent the remainder of her childhood as a dual citizen, participating in sports and martial arts. She now lives back in her hometown, where she enjoys spending time with loved ones, riding through the woods on her side-by-side, and going to the beach. She enjoys cooking for her family and specializes in Mexican cuisine. Welcome, Stephanie. Mary Sue Masti, mental health clinician. Mary Sue is from Chicago. She has been a licensed professional counselor for 33 years. She helped many people throughout her career. She moved to the Sioux in December 2021 with her husband, Robert. Welcome, Mary Sue. Steve Habusta. Oh, I should have called your name like I said I was going to. You're way back there. Hi, Steve. North Center Operations Coordinator. Steve is from Toledo, Ohio, but got his degree in recreation management at LSSU. He spent the last 20 years in professional ministry. Steve has 4 kids and is married to his beautiful wife, Tiffany. Welcome, Steve. Drew Bowers, strength and conditioning coach. Drew's over here. Drew most recently worked at Virginia Military Institute. He has extensive experience as a strength coach at NCAA member institutions. He is joined in Sault Ste. Marie by his dog, Harry. Welcome, Drew. Leonard Erickson, women's JV basketball coach. Leonard drove all the way here yesterday from Milwaukee and drove all the way back to Milwaukee to drop his U-Haul off and will be back, so he's not with us yet. Leonard most recently worked at Milwaukee Tech as a women's basketball coach. He is a graduate of the University of Texas, El Paso. Welcome, Leonard. Tony Filipek, head track and field coach. Hi, Tony. Tony joined LSSU from Western Michigan University. He is joined by his wife, Danny, and their 2 children, Flair and Rowdy. You've probably met her running around campus with a stroller with 2 kids. He earned his undergraduate degree at Saginaw Valley State University and a master's from Wayne State University. Welcome, Tony. Josh Henschel, men's JV basketball coach. Josh also arrived yesterday to the campus. Josh is a graduate of Syracuse University and most recently served as the director of analytics for the men's basketball program at Liberty University. Josh also coached at Northwood University. Welcome, Josh. Claire Meyer, athletic trainer. Claire is a graduate of LSSU and worked in sports medicine as an undergraduate. After graduation, she completed a master's at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and spent time as an athletic trainer at Penn State University. Welcome, Claire. Zach Rambo, volleyball coach. Zach Rambo returns to his hometown Sault Ste. Marie after serving in the United States Air Force. Following his service, Zach completed an undergraduate degree at Friend University and coached volleyball at Pratt Community College in Kansas. Welcome. Gabe Schmidt, Assistant Athletics Director for Internal Operations. Gabe returned to LSSU, where he earned his undergraduate degree in political science. He holds a master's degree from Youngstown State University and worked in coaching and athletic department operations at several schools following graduation. Welcome, Gabe. Chase Ward, Sports Information and Communication Specialist. Chase Ward joined LSSU in July from Newberry College, where he worked in sports communication. He holds an undergraduate degree from Shawnee State University in Ohio. Welcome, Chase. Veronica Clark, Admissions Representative. Veronica grew up in Newport, Michigan, but her love for the outdoors and wildlife brought her to LSSU, where she received her degree in biology. Her fiance, Curtis, and her dog, Jet, enjoy finding new places to explore around the UP whenever they get a chance. Welcome, Veronica. Tim Alola, Admissions Representative. Tim grew up in Sault Ste. Marie and is a Soo High grad. Tim's wife, Nicole, is an LSSU accounting grad. Tim went to school at Ohio Northern University, where upon graduating, he worked in the admissions office for Olivet College. Tim loves going for walks with his dog, Billy, going to sporting events, and cross-country skiing. Welcome, Tim. Hillary Jeffries, Director of Constituent Relations. Hillary grew up in Southern California, where she met her husband, Kyle, who was stationed there in the Navy. She earned her bachelor's degree at LSSU and her master's degree at Northern Michigan University. She currently resides in Brimley with her husband, Kyle, and two dogs, Cooper and Callie. Welcome, Hillary. Shelby Mackey, Campus Visit and Outreach Coordinator. Shelley grew up in Sault Ste. Marie. Shelley went to Central Michigan University and received her bachelor's degree in Recreation and Event Management in 2019. She is excited to be using her degree to enhance the campus experience at LSSU. Wyatt Plavin, got it, Enrollment Services Specialist. Wyatt hails from Fenwick, Michigan. He is a recent graduate from LSSU with a degree in finance. He enjoys spending time with his friends, golfing, fishing, and hunting. Welcome, Wyatt. Jonathan Sanford, Admissions Representative. He gave me a book to read, so let's go. So Jonathan grew up in Houston, Texas, which he declares gives him the authority to declare the Sioux winters are infinitely more tolerable than the Gulf Coast summers. I don't agree. He received his undergraduate degree from the University of Houston and master's degree from the University of Texas, Arlington. He loves his dogs Lily and Thor, is an income and math major here at LSSU, and has a forthcoming essay about the television show 6 Feet Under in the September issue of the online magazine Drunk Monkeys. Welcome, Jonathan. I'm sure you'll get a lot of questions on that one. Aaron Lake, Administrative Assistant for Advancement. Aaron was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie and has lived in East Lansing, South Bend, and Cincinnati before returning to Sioux in the early 20s. She enjoys spending time with her children, Summer and Jack, and her standard poodles, Pindle, Perry, and Ginger. In her free time, she also loves watching baseball, exercising, listening to podcasts, and doing jigsaw puzzles. Welcome, Erin. Mark Pomeroy. Hi, Mark. Mark is the assistant manager at Barnes & Noble bookstore. Mark was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. Mark served 6 years in the United States Air Force and was stationed in California, Saudi Arabia, and Hawaii. After his military service, Mark returned to Grand Rapids and now back to his hometown, where he hopes to give back to the community where he grew up. If we can just give one more round of applause for all of our new employees, and welcome. One last thing before Dr. Gillette comes up. Everyone should have got their email for Title IX, so don't forget your Title IX training, and if you didn't get a link, contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, for going off script. But I will add, since she didn't, if you don't do your Title IX training, we're going to chase you down. So we're going to do it. I have been here 4 years, 1 month, and 16 days. My birthday was yesterday. I'm 43 years old. My oldest daughter is 37. Don't do the math. This is the second longest place I've ever stayed since I was 18 years of age. Second longest, okay? Now, that's not because I am trapped or forced to be here. It's because I love it here. We're the only school I've ever been at that does what we just did. And I love that we do it. And I must admit, the first year I came here, I'm thinking, I don't know about all this. But it's part of who we are. I live here, and for the person from Houston, Texas, there's nothing that could make me live in that heat again. The winters up here beat that to death. I love the weather. I love the people. I love the students. I love who I work with. I truly have fantastically high job satisfaction. That's due to a whole lot of factors. One is the great team of faculty and staff I get to work with. One is the great set of deans that I get to work with. Yeah, I picked them all, but that's okay. One are the senior management team members that I get to work with. But you know, the major, you look up any research on the major reason for job satisfaction or not job satisfaction is your supervisor. So the major reason my job satisfaction is quite high is because of the person that's sitting right over there that's going to speak in a minute. Rod Hanley is not only my friend. We also absolutely love talking about baseball, but he is the best president I've ever worked for and with, and it's not even close. The fact that we are bold in what we do. We didn't hunker down. We don't hunker down. There are a lot of external things hitting higher education, including a worldwide pandemic. We didn't hunker down. I could go on for a long time, but I'm just mention a couple of things and then ask Dr. Hanley to come up. But one, I am tremendously proud of how we handled everything with COVID. All kinds of presidents, provosts, and others were running around with the hair on fire in the middle of that thing, and we weren't. Now, did we have people suggesting different things to us on an hour-by-hour basis? Yes. Was it tough? Yes. But we handled that incredibly well in everything we did. And then next, the strategic plan. I've been at only one institution, and it's Lake Superior State University, that ever had a strategic plan that was ever looked at the second after it was written. And not only is ours looked at, it is used every single day to guide where we are. So Dr. Hanley, it's my pleasure to introduce you.
Thank you, Mr. Provost. I think he's lobbying for a pay raise, and we'll talk about that later. Yeah. And welcome to all the new faculty and staff that are here today. It's I'm like Lynn. The first time I sat through an event like this at Lake State, I was like, I don't know. But, it's kind of nice to have all the new folks stand up and hear just a little something about them. I feel like I don't know you all that well, but I feel like I know you just a little bit better, and I think that's a really good thing. Let me just say to all of our returning employees, welcome back. And frankly, this is my favorite time of the year. Graduation is a close second, but I think this is my favorite time of the year, and the reason is because students are going to show up. They've got all kinds of optimism. They've got the world by their tail, and they're really just doing something with their lives, and you can see it in their faces, and their enthusiasm is infectious. And I'm really enthusiastic about the new class that we'll have coming in, also all the returning students that we'll be welcoming back to campus. Now, the provost mentioned the COVID global pandemic, and frankly, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the pandemic. I'm sick of the word COVID. We had to live it on an hour-by-hour basis, and we don't. I don't spend a lot of time anymore really strategizing about COVID, but in preparing my remarks today, I wanted to say a few things about it. And, the pandemic has mostly passed away. Mostly. We hope it doesn't come back, but we don't know. And we've accomplished so much over the last 2 years. We were not standing still. We follow what happens at other universities around the state, around the nation. Some of these universities were in pretty tough shape during COVID. Their enrollment dropped off the table. They had faculty dissatisfaction, staff dissatisfaction. I think we were able to avoid a lot of that. Our university has come through the pandemic stronger and more resilient than I think it probably ever has been. And we're really proud of that. Now, speaking of COVID, we were the first university in the state that had widespread testing on campus. We were also the first university in the state that had the vaccine availability. I'll share a little anecdote with you. I was on a conference call with the other university presidents, and we were talking about COVID, at the time, and I talked about how we had just had our second vaccine clinic, and that I was guessing, but I thought maybe 40% of our faculty and staff had been vaccinated, and I heard audible gasps on the Zoom call, because most of those other presidents downstate hadn't had the vaccine at all at their universities. And so I think we managed ourselves pretty well. If you're interested in the numbers, we had the lowest number of COVID cases of any university in the state of Michigan. That's a pretty good thing. We're also a small university, but we also had the lowest positivity rate of any of the universities in the state of Michigan. And I attribute that to our students, our faculty, our staff, just doing the right thing. We would wear our masks when we had to wear our masks. We would socially distant when we had to be socially distant from one another. We did the right thing, and I think it paid off. Through all the stress and the challenges, we made it through that really difficult time. And you all deserve the credit for that. Now, over the last 2 years, we've accomplished so much. Now, first and foremost, as the provost mentioned, is our 5-year strategic plan. This plan outlines what we want to accomplish and also the kind of university that we want to be. We conducted, in putting it together, we had 35 listening sessions across campus to give voice to the different campus constituencies that we have. There was also an online survey that many of you may have filled out. If you haven't seen our strategic plan, then I want to invite you to go to the website and find it. It really is a document that we use for the management of the institution. It's a roadmap of sorts for us as a university. Now, we may not accomplish everything in the plan, but we're making excellent progress. We're approaching the halfway point in our 5-year plan, and I want to mention a few of the accomplishments that we've achieved so far. Number one, our new academic programs. Now, when the provost and I arrived here, Lake Superior State University hadn't had new academic programs in many years. But we were able to add a number of new programs. I've got a list here: mechatronics, cannabis chemistry, cannabis business, data science, emergency management, an online nursing completion program, social emotional learning, cannabis health, and cannabis production. Those are all new programs, and many of these programs are beginning to draw students, not just from the state of Michigan, but from around the country and other countries. And I'm quite proud of the academic, the staff who worked with the senior leadership in putting those together. Another major thing that we were able to accomplish is, and this is not the sexy accomplishment, but it's financial health ratios. Now, in case you don't know, our accreditation body is the Higher Learning Commission, HLC. And we have to report different financial metrics each year, and different multiple financial ratios. We send this information in, and they produce a composite financial index for universities that they accredit. It's a way of measuring the financial health of the institution. So in 2011, the CFI of Lake Superior State University was 2.3. Not great, but not bad, okay? In 2020, it was negative 0.08. Now, a lot of that was had nothing to do with us. It had to do with the way the state administered the appropriations that year. But we had to answer for that with the HLC. And in doing so, in 2021, our financial CFI ratio was 4.68, the highest in the history of Lake Superior State University. We're in pretty good financial condition. We've also, as part of our strategic plan, we've also added new teams in athletics. We have new club hockey teams, and in fact, this past season, the women's team made a deep run towards a national championship. They were ranked #1 in the country for most of the season. We've added shooting sports, men's and women's diving, and women's triathlon, and those sports will come online in a year or so. And in fact, one of the things, and I'm really glad that the athletic director is here, we're going to install a new video scoreboard in the Taffy Abel Arena, to replace the vintage scoreboard that has been there for a long time. I'm really looking forward to that. Another thing that we've done as part of our strategic plan is that we developed and are using budgeting processes that integrate planning, innovation, and assessment. So we now use business models for all of our new initiatives, and we link the initiatives with the budget allocation. That doesn't sound like that's an interesting kind of thing, but it really does lend itself towards how we distribute money across campus. And now I'm pleased to report that we've had multiple years of balanced budgets in a row. I'd have to talk with someone who's got more historical memory than I do, but it's Lake Superior State has not had a lot of balanced budgets in the last 25 years, but we've had multiple years of balanced budgets in a row. We're also, I mentioned the Higher Learning Commission a moment ago, and we have to, as part of our strategic plan, we want to maintain good standing with the Higher Learning Commission and all the other accreditation bodies that work with individual programs. Because what's important for Lake Superior State University is to build a culture of continuous assessment, not a process where you just sort of pick it up when the accreditors come calling, but it's something you do on a day-to-day basis, and we've been able to build that. So as a result, our HLC we're in good standing with business, which is ACBSP. We're in good standing. Chemistry, ACS, good standing. Computer education, CAEP, good standing. This is an alphabet soup. Electrical and mechanical engineering, good standing. Emergency medical services, good standing. Fire science, good standing. And I think this is due to the tremendous efforts of the provost's office, but also the faculty in these respective areas. Another thing that we've been able to do is increase the number of faculty and students conducting sustainability-related research. Now, we've expanded research conducted in our Center for Freshwater Research and Education. We've completed the construction, or mostly completed the construction, for Seafree. If you haven't been there, I would certainly invite you to go there. It's a fantastic facility that is right on the shores of the St. Mary's River. They've got the most beautiful views of the staff that work there have the best offices on campus. It's amazing. A National Coast Guard Center of Expertise was awarded to LSSU, focusing on the health of the Great Lakes. And I don't want to let this one go. We were part of a national competition for this. There were major universities that were applying for this Coast Guard Center. There were Ivy League schools, the University of Michigan, the Michigan Tech. There were schools throughout the Great Lakes region that were applying, and we won. Lake Superior State University was awarded the Coast Guard Center of Expertise, and in a few days, we're going to have a ribbon-cutting ceremony for that. And one of my favorite events on campus is the Undergraduate Research Symposium that we have over the Norris Center. This is when undergraduates get together and present their undergraduate research. It is really fun to walk through and talk with these students as they explain their research projects, the passion that they have, the enthusiasm that they have. When the announcement goes out for the Undergraduate Research Symposium, if you sort of just ignore that kind of announcement, don't really pay attention to it, I invite you to pay attention to it and go to this event. It will boost your spirits of why you work at Lake Superior State University when you go to this event. It is that interesting. It's that great. So I just really want to give that a major shout out. Another thing that we've done, and I think the provost may talk a little bit more about this, is that we've increased our programming and our emphasis on our Native American Center. The provost and his team have facilitated a major overhaul of the center, including new leadership. They've got new furniture, they've cleaned the carpet, they've done renovations, and then they're facilitating many activities. You know, I could go on with this list of what we've been able to do from the strategic plan, but I just wanted to give you a sampling of what we've accomplished. And of course, the last 2 years were not without its challenges beyond even COVID. But of course, COVID was the biggest challenge that we had to deal with. It's also impacted how we addressed our strategic plan. And I think in the last couple of years, there's a few areas that we're really enthusiastic to get back to. And I want to mention those. International recruiting, COVID shut all that down. And that includes really revitalizing our Canadian recruiting. Study abroad and faculty exchanges. I'm working with the provost on that now. Internationalization of academic and co-curricular programs. Increasing our arts and cultural exchanges, and then continuing to increase overall student recruiting. As I mentioned at the beginning of my comments, you know, COVID really had this crazy effect on universities and their recruiting. And it's hard to pick up a newspaper or look at a news website and not see some really scary stories about what's happening at universities, you know, out there in the state of Michigan, how their enrollment has been dropping off by 5%, 10%, 15% down in their enrollment just in 2 years. But LSSU has been one of those few universities in Michigan that has seen enrollment growth over the last 2 years. In fact, and we've been able to sort of buck the trend of the declining enrollment throughout the state of Michigan. And this fall, we're poised to hold enrollment steady, if not see some modest growth. So we're really enthusiastic about that. Now, what I'm oftentimes asked when I go to meetings downstate or, you know, elsewhere, I'm oftentimes asked, what is LSSU known for? Perhaps the person I'm talking to, maybe they've never heard of LSSU, or if they did, maybe it's about sports or something and not the university proper. And so I'm asked, what is it known for? What makes LSSU unique within a crowded group of Michigan universities? This is something legislators sometimes bring up. Now, I could give lots of strong answers. Our academic programs that emphasize real-world experience, perhaps our location, we're surrounded by water. A lot of the people that were introduced earlier today, they have a strong interest in the outdoors and nature, fishing, hunting, and so forth. And there's any one of many possible answers that could be given that would be valid. But the answer I like best, and the answer that best separates us, I believe separates us from the other universities in the state, is our institutional-wide student-centered approach, because we care about and we care for our students. And we must do this. This is not really an option to not do this. It is for other universities, it is not for us. About 60% of Lake Superior State University students are first-generation college students. I'm a first-generation college student. About 55% of Lake State students are financially disadvantaged in one way or the other. We have different ways that we measure that. Now, these are students that, for the most part, many other universities often just forget about them. They're not part of their plan. They're often difficult to retain. They take sometimes they take longer to graduate than those universities would like, or they might require substantial financial aid to recruit them and to keep them there. Universities all over the country view these students as a risk. At Lake State, we don't believe this. We believe that every student matters. No matter what kind of background that they might come from, no matter the challenges that they have faced, we believe that every student deserves an opportunity to better themselves. And we will do our best to serve our students. It's the Lake State way. So when you're out in your jobs and perhaps you pass a student on the sidewalk, don't hesitate to say hello. Don't hesitate to offer a little bit of extra help if they need it. Offer an encouraging word now and again. In doing so, you might be helping someone to graduate and to go on and change their lives and realize the dreams that they have made for themselves. So I want to close my comments today and just say, as you go through your jobs, it really is important to be as student-centered and student-focused as we possibly can be. So thank you, and let's all have a fantastic academic year. Thank you very much.
I'm doing my Michael Jackson thing here. The reason I use this thing is, if I'm looking at the PowerPoint and I'm looking here, you lose me for a minute. And I'm good friends with Zahi Awas, who's the world's leading Egyptologist, and Zahi is the one that taught me that when I saw him give presentations all over California. We ready? Yes. We up? Okay. What I want to do is not fall. Steve, if you really cared about me, buddy, you'd be right here spotting me, but that's okay. I sort of sassed him a week ago. So, all right, so several things. What I'm going to do, and y'all know me that have been here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to affirm a lot of things, I'm going to talk about a few things, and I'm going to challenge us on a few things, all right? So first of all, we are rolling out now 2 majors that were approved over a year ago. The mechatronics major where are the engineers? Raise your hand. They're always sitting in the back high back there. All right. The engineers did an unbelievable job preparing this curriculum. David Leach was the lead. We're excited about it, and our new faculty member from Turkey is going to be teaching in it. And then data science. I'm so glad Chris Smith's here today. Chris worked on this, I think, the whole time since I've known you. But that's Chris. That's Chris. He did an unbelievable job with this major, worked with groups of faculty across campus, because it's kind of a data science plus, kind of getting into data analytics and so forth. So we're rolling both of those out. Thank you guys for what you've done for it. All right, thank you, buddy. All right, next, General Education Assessment Committee. I think I'll put it a little bit weaker. I'm not on any committee with faculty that's more important than this committee. And the reason is because of what Dr. Hanley said earlier about the Higher Learning Commission. General education assessment is not easy work. We made a decision before I got here to not use standardized tests in gen ed assessment. And so as I said then, we in effect said with no training, we were going to go barefooted up Mount Everest by ourselves. So if you use naturally normed tests, gen ed assessment's easier. I didn't say it was better. But when you don't use a naturally normed test, and we don't, what it means is faculty have got to be really engaged in assessing those gen ed courses, having a rubric, getting the data, and then a committee that looks at it. So this is the general gen ed committee for this year. Is Mindy McCready here? Yeah, Mindy's the co-chair. She's done a fabulous job with this. Is my vice provost, Gail Essmaker, here? Gail, scream, where are you? Okay. Gail has done all kind of work working with Mindy and the group that have done a fabulous job. This is important stuff. Next, we continue to assess it. And what we did this past year, we have 4 institutional learning outcomes. One is about writing. 2 are about critical thinking. And then we had a 4th one that was about, if you will, professionalism and diversity and inclusion. So we worked the whole year, and we split ILO 4 into 2. Now the new ILO 4 will be about professionalism, and ILO 5 will be about intercultural competency. I'm going to read it. Students will display knowledge of and interact effectively and respectfully with members of groups whose identities, beliefs, behaviors, and values differ from their own. Let me just make an editorial comment. I think the United States right now could use a heavy dose of this, right? And the news channels could use a heavy dose of this. So I'm proud of this. Now, is Kurt Malden here? Where is he? All right. Everybody on that Gen Ed committee did an unbelievable job. But Kurt Malden came in on this. And he has been nothing but extraordinary. First of all, Kurt's got all kind of expertise related to assessment. And then we started working on this ILO 4, and that thing can get a little difficult. And so what he did, it was great stuff. I've never worked with anybody that was more effective on a committee than he's been on Gen Ed. You're never getting off of this, by the way. I don't even care if you voted off. I'm putting you on it. But, buddy, you have done an unbelievable job of sharing your expertise and working with everybody on the committee and making this entire university better because of it. Thank you. Next, curriculum committee. By the faculty contract, I'm co-chair of the Gen Ed committee and the curriculum committee. Evan Shim has been co-chair for 2 years. Also, Evan, you got to stay co-chair. I mean, bad things happen to you if you don't. Evan is great with it. First of all, he understands the rules of the game better than I do. He understands the bylaws better than I do. And he does it with speed, grace, and humor. You do a great job, and we're going to have some things to be looking at pretty soon. That is the committee from last year. We have a couple of people we're going to vote on this week, so that's why I used last year's committee. We don't have the whole thing. Now, I could talk a day about this. I'm going to just mention this. When I interviewed, the president and I will talk from time to time, maybe over a cigar, about what we heard when we interviewed a little over 4 years ago. So I'll now speak for him. For me, I'll speak for him. Yeah, I'll get you in all kinds of trouble. I'll speak for me, not him. I heard all kind of faculty. And Evan, this is when I hugged you and you hugged me doing the interview now. I'm holding you to that. We heard all kind of faculty telling us about all the micromanagement and wrong things that had occurred over the last years. Great faculty members being promoted for tenure promotion to everywhere until they got into the administration building, and then there was a no, or the reverse, right? We haven't done any of that squirrely stuff. Also, the idea that the curriculum committee would work, or Gen Ed work, and then it get to the provost office and it would all just all die, be blown up, right? We haven't done that either. But here's what I want to share, and I said this in the last curriculum committee meeting, and I don't know if everybody got it, because everybody that's on the curriculum committee meeting committee now was not on it 4 years ago. But when I came, Kimberly Muller was, when I came here, my first year, the curriculum committee was like the Spanish Inquisition. I've never seen anything like it. Now, the president talked about we hadn't had a whole bunch of new programs for a while. So, Damon, this was like the greatest hockey Goldie in the history of the world was on this committee, and they were not going to let any new program get past them without beating everybody up. The deans would typically have their glasses sort of like this, like they're looking down at you in some kind of inquisition. We have changed that culture. So I want to encourage everybody, I'm going to talk about new programs a little bit, to feel free to propose new programs. Now, we're going to vet it. We're going to vet it very carefully. We're going to look at whether it makes sense as far as budget, student learning outcomes, assessment, et cetera. But that whole committee culture has massively changed. Next, if you've never been involved in a negotiation, your life is not complete. Let me just say that. In the new faculty contract, we had some great teams of people working on this. So the negotiating team for the university was me, Wendy, Steve, Kimberly, but also Kathy and Barb Light worked on it in the fall so that we could see what we might want to propose as far as changing some things in the contract. And then Sasha Tooze is the greatest scribe in the history of the world. It's a massive organization task. And then with the negotiating team for the Faculty Association was great stuff. I love and respect every faculty member here. We had two really good teams, from my perspective, on both sides. And I'm going to go through everybody in a second. Obviously, they sort of just get gateway courses is a major determinant of how high retention will be. So we'll be assessing the effectiveness of gateway courses. Now, I will say this. Unlike any other provost I've ever met, but whatever, I've met them all, I believe your best teachers are in gateway courses. That's where the heavy lifting is. I believe very strongly that teaching freshmen in a course in your subject matter a whole lot harder than teaching seniors. You don't need the same skill set on the senior level. You may need more knowledge, subject matter knowledge, but not teaching skill set. We want to celebrate diversity and promote a culture of inclusion and belonging. More on that in a minute. We want to incorporate history, traditions, languages, and cultures of indigenous peoples in all university service areas. Now, I forgot to put this down a little bit later, and I'm thinking about it right now, so I just want to say, we are offering an Ojibwe language class this fall. It's the first time we've ever done it. And if you know anything about Native American history, you know many were put in these doggone boarding schools. I'm not going to go all into what they did, but also they were not allowed to speak their language. So it's almost like a lost language. So we're teaching Ojibwe. I met the instructor yesterday in the fall. We want to expand the number of performances in the Art Center. Adam, Thomas, Christy. And we'll all say, thank God, COVID is sort of not ever present. We're really going to, this is a great facility we want to expand. We want to expand the programming related to sustainability. We've got some faculty working on some programs related to that now, but also what we do with sustainability across campus. And I will always put that bullet, and I almost forgot to put that bullet, right? We will always focus on student success and retention. We will always focus on that. Chosen name policy. We, for the first time in our history, have a chosen name policy now. It is in place right now. I'm going to read. We now have in place a chosen name policy that provides a process through which one's chosen name, preferred pronouns, and gender identity can be reflected in university records. And I believe the deans will talk more about that in college meetings on Wednesday. Okay, next, the Native American Center. Erica Newland, are you here? I'm going to brag on you. All right. Late October, in the fall, Dr. Hanley met with me and said, Lynn, I want the Native American Center to report to you. I'm thinking, that's great. I don't have anything to do. So it wasn't like it was an option, all right? Best thing that's happened to me. I love doing this. He then came up with a great idea about 30 seconds later that said, Lynn, I think you should have Erica Newland be special advisor to the Native American Center. I meet with Erica within 15 minutes. I love to go fishing, and I threw that bait out there, and she took it right off. Erica, where are you again? Erica's been invaluable, and that's a word economists don't use, invaluable related to us doing this. I mentioned Robert before, and he's not here today. Gail Essmaker's on it. Barb Light was on it, but we've got Kathy Nam, Mark Boucher, and Sasha. We meet every 2 weeks at minimum, and we plan out what we're going to do related to activities. As Dr. Hanley mentioned, we have renovated the Native American Center. I'm going to be kind right now. I went into the Native American Center in October, and it was atrocious. It was the maddest I've ever gotten at work. It was atrocious. We fixed that thing up. The bottom line is they just let it go. What Scott Smith did was Scott found restricted funds that we had raised that had not been used. So no money from the general fund was used for this. Found restricted funds where we could go in and renovate the Native American Center. We're going to have 415 million activities in it, and we would love for you to come by and see it. It's pretty incredible what we have now. Here are several of the many events we have planned for the year. We're going to have, first of all, Mike Beasley. I think Mike's left doing student affairs stuff, but we have a Native American showcase Thursday this week at 2 p.m. in Player Commons. Next, we're going to bring back Soup Tuesdays. Erica Newland's also a great cook, but Robert says he is too. So we're going to have Soup Tuesdays where people can come by. We will start that in September, and it will run every Tuesday. Next, Orange Shirt Day, Friday, September 30. Orange Shirt Day is in recognition of the Native Americans that had gone to boarding schools and all the stuff that had happened to them there. And I'm not going to go into it. We've done programming related. We will do more programming. Next, Indigenous Peoples Day. Now, that's on a Monday. What's the date? October 10. You're good. October 10. But students on here. So our programming is going to be doing that week. We just haven't figured it all quite out yet. We plan on having our first ever land acknowledgement read that week. And we also have Whitney Gravel, who's president of Bay Mills Indian Community, that will speak. For Native American Heritage Month. Oh, yeah. So Dr. Hanley told me the Native American Center will report to me something like October 29. I meet with Erica on October 29. Erica comes into my office. I might be off a day. About October 30, he says, by the way, you know November is Native American Heritage Month, don't you? We haven't done a thing. So we did some stuff last year. We're going to have a significant speaker about contemporary issues. We're going to cover, on Native American issues, we're going to cover history, culture, and contemporary issues. We will also have something, Kathy Burcham, related to medicinal indigenous plants workshop. We're going to have meals that we've already worked with Sodexo on that will be Native American or indigenous peoples meals. And we're going to have games that are traditionally played, and Robert's great with this, whether it's snow stake, if it's snow, but also lacrosse. Spring of 23, we have Woodland Sky coming back here again. Now, Thomas, we're going to fund this even if we don't get the grant, okay? I've got other ways, okay? All right, so we're going to have Woodland Sky come back. Is it a week?
We're working on this.
Okay. They were fantastic if you saw them before, and we will have other things related to it. How many people in here know Tamantha Sylvester? She was one of our students. Tamantha is a Native American student. I saw her when Spencer Christensen was here. She did a one-person play that the president and I went to, and then I've seen her in another play. She's fantastic. She's in effect getting a master's in a school in Massachusetts in theater. She has done one-person plays in Los Angeles since she's graduated. We're going to bring her here for a year. She'll do, a week. Smith, you didn't know that. All right. Bring her here for a week. She will do a couple of one-person plays and then also give talks related to Native American issues. Incredibly impressive alumnus. And then Mark Boucher is leading up a TEDx. We have a TEDx. The theme is going to be identity, and that will be occurring in March. And I'm done. I want to thank every one of you for what we do every day. Let's have a great year, and thank you for today. We're done.